Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. This is something for someone special or from someone special. 'Cause every time I close my eyes, I think of you. And no matter what the season is, I still love you with all my heart. And I wanna be with you wherever you are. I only think of you on 2 occasions. That's day and night. I'd go for broke if I could be with you. Only you can make it right. That is 2 occasions. I feel like a radio host right now. That was 2 occasions by The Deal. Yes, the ladies and gentlemen, The Deal. Fun fact, I actually did used to work for 103.9 back in the day. I was an intern in college for the Jonesy in the Morning show. And it was quite an interesting time, as you can imagine, if you remember that show in the tri-state area. Well, she's kind of all over now. But yeah, back then she was a trip. I was there when she got fired from that station, and then Colby Cole took over, and I wasn't as engaged. He was kind of boring, so I stepped off and moved on to other things. But anyway, yep, I used to do the morning show. That just took me back a little bit. Now, obviously, that was well after the time frame of that song. So I heard that song today, and I think that song was in the 80s, let's say like mid 80s. I actually did look it up because when I went to look up the song after hearing it channeled up in my spirit, I was searching it as Babyface, because that's the voice that I most am acquainted with the song. And of course, obviously he wrote it, but I honestly didn't really know that it was a part of a whole group. And so it sent me on this little spiral to just get into like, who was this group? Because when I found the song, I found that it wasn't actually Babyface at all as a solo artist, but it was him as a part of the group The Deal, which was his first premiere on the music scene as a part of that group. Well, as far as I could tell from my short research. And then he later broke away with L.A. Reid, who was also in the group. Didn't know that. He was the drummer. And they started LaFace, and the rest is history. So when I looked it up, I was enlightened to the fact that even though I knew it was a different voice singing the beginning of the song, in my mind, their voices are very distinctly different. I still didn't associate the song with the original leader of the group, whose name was like Darnell. Now I didn't forgot it that fast. That's crazy. So I guess the point, what was coming up for me in this quick little exchange of a musical moment that I had was that, everybody has their lane. And he started off as one in the number of the group, but later, and that song was one of their biggest hits, go figure, that he wrote, and later went on to be number one of the most accomplished singers, might as well say, songwriter for sure, and composers of all times in many ways. Like, there isn't one genre of music that Babyface has not touched and made hits in, not just throwing out anything and seeing what sticks, like actual hits that we still enjoy to this day. As a matter of fact, when I saw his most recent Tiny Desk concert, there were still songs that I didn't even know he wrote. And every time there is any type of Babyface medley or concert or tribute, I'm always surprised, no matter how much time has passed, that there's yet another song that I didn't know he had a hand in, literally had a hand on. So I don't know why I feel guided. I mean, obviously the song came up for a reason. It's definitely love vibes. So there's that one regard that maybe someone has this feeling toward you, or maybe you are feeling this way toward someone. And I was just used as a conduit to express that emotion, that there's a high volume of love thoughts right now, that people are really calling in love either in a new vibration or in an elevated vibration, whether you're already in relationship or you're opening yourself up to that exchange. And perhaps the message is that someone may be thinking about you just as much as you're thinking about them, and vice versa. Okay, so there's that part, but the more practical piece of it, which was, like I said, was the astounding piece of Babyface as he was and as he is now, is that everybody has their own special niche, their own je ne sais quoi. And for as buried as his voice could have been, well, not buried, but as he was accompanied by 4 or 5 other people in that group, he was the standout because his energy signature is just all over that song, even though he only sings that small little part that I just sang for you. The other 2 verses are sung by the other lead vocalist, and yet that's what I connect to. So my thought is that the message may be that when you are working in the vibration that you're most divined to be in, that's most organic, most authentic to you, that is the energy that lasts. I'm particularly hearing right now, only what you do for Christ will last. And I used to hear that all the time growing up. And you can kind of almost separate yourself from that statement, but you know how I am. I think about things in a more revolutionary way that may or may not be a conflict for those that have more stringent religious views. So just rock with me if you will, or release it if you don't. But my perspective of Christ is ultimately the reflection of your highest self. Whether you subscribe to Christ the man, Christ the God, Christ as a both, Christ the symbol, the energy, the vibration, whatever, however you see the energy of Christ, it's about the reflection itself is an aspiration of what you ultimately have the potential to be, which is infinite, most clearly speaking. So only what you do in the regard of what is catering to and submissive to and supportive of the best of you, the most authentic, organic version of you is what matters. And it's the thing, like we could do, Babyface, could do 1,000,001 different things in life, and I'm sure he might be good at them, or may have been good at them, or may be good at all of them. But it's no question or no doubt that he clearly was called to be an amazing musician, producer, and singer and songwriter. And that is what I'm sure, even amidst much of a struggle, especially back then in the industry, I'm sure that because he stayed the course and stayed devoted to his passion, ultimately, the passion of the Christ, let that not be lost on you, devoted to his passion, devoted to his calling, to what incited him to feel joy in life, is why he's made such an imprint on music to this day, that he still is making music, that he still is recognized and idolized as, a musical figurehead, and that the things that the imprints that he's left in music alone, if not much more beyond that, I'm sure, are going to probably last well beyond his years. He's one of those dudes that's just classic, that when he's gone, God forbid, whenever that day may be, we'll still be singing some songs that we remember from growing up, or we heard our moms play, or we heard, on the radio every now and again, and may not even know that is Babyface's song or that he had anything to do with it, but the imprint that's left behind on account of his passion will be eternal. Okay, so I hope you feel me on what I'm saying. I didn't even expect for it to Shoot, I never do. I ain't expect for it to gain all that insight, but I hope you receive it as you will. So we got the Two of Cups coming out. I'm gonna get some cards down, and then I do want to share my tea bag message, which is all I initially had to share in my, my pre-channeled message. But then I heard that song so clearly in my spirit as I was preparing, and I love that song for sure. But as you can see, that me not even knowing the actual group, it's not a song that just randomly pops up. So I thank Spirit for the message that comes up and the reminder that we all have our lane. We all have our special imprint to make on the earth that is beyond what anyone else can dictate or, can obstruct. So, yeah, there's that. All right. All right, so we got the Two of Cups on the top of the deck. We got the Chariot, we got the High Priestess, we have the Four of Wands, we have the Queen of Pentacles. Interesting energy. So the channeled message, the Yogi Tea Bag message is, you are the master of your judgments, your decisions, and your actions. That sounds like sovereign energy to me. Like almost a cross between Virgo and Capricorn, like mastery of Virgo and control. And well, usually I think Capricorn has more control over other people's energy, isn't it? Yeah. Well, some balance between there. It's definitely a power sign where you know that you have control over who you are, what you do, your decisions and your actions. All right. Back to the reading. All right, so Two of Cups is definitely some type of contract, commitment, agreement, two people on the same page about something. Definitely can be love vibes for sure, especially given how we started this song. How we started this message, or how I started this message, right? But it doesn't have to be limited to that. It could be professional. It could also be platonic. So let's see. We got the Chariot card about moving forward in a positive direction after some great success or overcoming of a feat. Pardon me. I just heard it can also be police. I don't always connect to that card as that, but I just heard that, so we'll hold on to that thought. The High Priestess is secrets, divine alignment. Four of Wands is, hold on. Four of Wands is home. And then Queen of Pentacles. What's the Queen of Pentacles, though? It don't feel great to me right now, I gotta say. Especially when I'm called to say that the Chariot card is the police, the po-po. I'm seeing that there's some revelation. Really? Okay. I'm going to just say it how I feel it, but we'll see if the other cards come out to confirm it. There was some agreement between two people. It just doesn't feel straight to me. I'm sorry. It's my obsession. It's not you, it's me. There's some agreement between two people that has been what it is. This is okay. What I'm seeing is that there's some element of secrecy or something that hasn't been unveiled in regards to the true nature of this agreement or this commitment or relationship, whatever it is. Remember, I said Two of Cups doesn't have to be limited to love. It can just be two people on the same page and agreeing to some contract or commitment, platonic or professional. And that's what I'm getting from this right now off the top, literally off the top. This is just the beginning, so it could change, but usually more or less how I feel is how it unfolds. What I'm seeing is that there's been something secretive behind the scenes or behind the surface. As I said, I've most recently been seeing this Four of Wands as a power couple or one of those creative couples that puts up a facade for entertainment purposes ultimately. It doesn't even necessarily have to be anything diabolical per se, but it's just not altogether authentic, right? And so the High Priestess is, to me, either someone that is, either working with the police to unveil or some element of what's been concealed is now or just has been, and unbeknownst to them, because they don't seem aware in the Four of Wands, but their secrets are being revealed ultimately as in the true nature of this dynamic, what it is and what it isn't. What is coming out to be is something that is very materially based and focused, which is in alignment with, as I said, it's not really the facade of love and marriage and commitment that is propped up for appearance's sake. It's really much more perhaps superficially grounded and motivated than that. But the thing that's really getting me is this Queen of Pentacles on the end. It's making me, and this one has on red and she's on the outside. That's why I'm feeling like there's some cooperation that's happening with the authorities as to how this is all being unveiled. And yeah, the High Priestess here is perhaps the secret identity of whomever is actually working to ultimately either feed some authority some information on what this couple is really about, because there's something under the surface here that obviously is not revealed as of yet. But look at how this official person is kind of lording over these two entities. He's almost like watching them. Like there's a close eye, or has been a close eye, on what this couple is really doing behind the facade that they present. But they're not working alone. There's someone on the inside, i.e. perhaps this partner herself, or someone even in connection to this partner, that is helping them to put the pieces of the puzzle together, or has. I don't know if this is something that is happening or has happened. Sometimes with me, I never really quite know for sure because I see everything in the present scope. So sometimes it hasn't even happened yet. Take that as you will. But the Four of Wands, to me, is this couple that is unaware, or at least one of them, because if the person that is a part of this union, this is what I hear. I feel like the one that is a part of this union is secretly working in some outside capacity in a way to sabotage it, but for the purposes of ultimately saving her own assets, and figuratively and literally speaking. Her fixation is on the finances. You know, this is not about love for her. This is not about loyalty. This is about how can she fare the best coming out of this situation? Like, what's the best possible outcome for her? And for her, is for her to have some financial gain or something to show for whatever her involvement was. The gotcha is, though, that for however she may be making some type of side deal, whether it be with the authorities or whether it be something altogether different, because they are on two separate ends of the spectrum. However she feels she's getting over, there's something that's still being revealed that's implicating her just as well. Or if she is the one that is working with the authorities and thinking that she perhaps maybe has secured her position. You know, she's created herself to be of some value to this operation. I just heard sting. So whatever this investigation is, she's an operation. I just heard that too. So it's like she's playing both sides ultimately. That's why it's the two here, because she's created herself to be, she's presented herself, not even created, let's say a presentation, right? Because this is all a facade. She's presented herself to be of some added value to the inner workings of the operation, enough that she still has access to it and is still connected within it. Perhaps unsuspectedly, I don't know, but at least there's something that they need from her, or that she's presenting herself to be able to add value to. Oh shit. This is somebody presenting themselves. I just heard it, but I'm gonna keep speaking about it practically so. And then I'm gonna tell you what I heard on the other end. This is someone that's presenting themselves to be of value to the stability of this home, this structure, whatever this house that's been built up on sticks is, that's really faulty in the grand scheme of things, in this vibration, not holistically, but in this vibration is faulty because first of all, the intentions are not pure. Remember, only what you do for Christ will last. These are people operating out of the function of their highest selves. It's all for material gain or for publicity or promotion or power, whatever the motivation may be. It's not pure. So that's why this house is looking faulty at this time. She's presented herself to add value to it by way of her energy, her gifts, something that she's contributing to the stability of this home. It may be actual money that she has that is holding up this house, you know, for dear life at this point. And so there's still that codependency there. Yeah, that's the agreement. And or she has also presented herself to be of value to the outside authorities looking in on account of what she knows, her involvement. Like she has the intel, she has the tapes, you know what I mean? She has the evidence. That's what she's holding in her hand. She's the closest one to the scene. So she ultimately either has bartered some deal of, yeah, that's why she thinks she's on the outside. Like she's bartered some deal of, what do they call it? Immunity. Some deal of immunity to escape what this is now looking like almost a prison-bound situation with these wands on the outside, to escape possible jail time or maybe some strenuous legalities, maybe a lesser sentence or just something where she gets to, you know, maybe get a slap on the wrist, literally. I don't know, but there's some reason why it was of value to her to work with the authorities in the first place, secretly, mind you, so that she could ultimately, again, save her assets, even if it's just literally just saving her ass at this point in time. But I get the sense that there's still something of value for her that she's holding on to by way of this pentacle, that this is what I hear. This is going to be real wild, but this is what I hear. This operation, whatever it is, she's still extracting a financial reward from this situation by way of, like I said, presenting herself to have value to it. Now, what I was going to say when I had that aha moment is that she's presenting herself to be some type of high priestess, someone that has gifts, that has divine authority, that's in divine alignment, that can see beyond the veil, that may even be psychic or have some type of spiritual, you know, supernatural nature about herself. That's what she's presenting herself to be to this house. And that's why, you know, she either is presenting herself to have value to it or be a threat to it. Either one of which, it makes those on the inside continue to be dependent on her value as she presents it to be, even though, her intentions are really only to extract as much of the situation and of the people involved as she can before she splits, or before she knows that all of this is about to be crumbling down anyway. So what I'm hearing is the reason why I'm saying, like, even if she's potential, I feel like the funny part is, I feel like that where she thinks, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but I am, where she thinks she's bartering a deal for immunity and she's about to get off, there's going to be something secretly that implicates her in a way that trumps that immunity. And I know that can happen legally. I'm just not sure how it gets to be. That maybe perhaps you can barter a deal in regard to one aspect of a case, and they take your deal and take all your information. Like, come on, the justice system, the legal system ain't really no friend to nobody, especially when they're trying to bring a house down, literally, is what I just heard. So they're probably going along with the plot. Maybe it's just one particular officer or official person, agent perhaps, that she thinks that she's working with in secret, and that they have a special connection, that they have a special agreement upon. And maybe he's even promising her, yeah, I got you, she's feeding him hella information and evidence in exchange for her proposed immunity. But in actuality, either it's a facade, that she's the wool's being pulled over her eyes in some way, shape, or form, and she's actually going to be just as implicated as the rest of them. Or, like I said, after she has proven herself to be useful to the case that is impending, there's going to be some new way, some drudged up charge or some other way to kind of clinch her in so that she doesn't go scot-free either. That's what I hear. Now, what she's doing in the meantime, whether it be in her own ignorance, or maybe she knows, like maybe she actually does have some gifts as the high priestess and does know some secrets, but I'm getting the sense that that's a facade. She knows some secrets, all right, because she's up in the midst of whatever this falsehood is. So she knows the secrets of it as much as she's been contributing and creating it. But maybe intuitively so, she has an inkling that if what I'm hearing is that she's setting up a nest egg for herself, like something out of the way, some money's on the side, by way of how she's extorting this process, unbeknownst to them. They don't even know probably that she's either been skimming off the top or siphoning energy under the table, or is she going to altogether like deplete or has depleted bank accounts and be out, and be out the door. But she's basically going to take as much from this situation as she possibly can, because she knows it's going down anyway. So she's going to try to hide some funds to the side, whether it be for her own, I just heard that, wow, that's dirty. Like for her own defense. She said, fuck y'all, I'm taking care of my own defense. Y'all figure it out on your own. So she's breaking this arrangement in every way, shape, or form. But I mean, there's no honor amongst thieves. So, but she either is putting it away for her own defense if need be, or for her nest egg for when she is released from whatever time she may be facing as well. That's wild. Wow. Look at this here. Yep, that's it. And I'm putting this up here. That's it. It's like she's planning her escape route. She's planning her escape route. But the funny thing is, though, this is the action that she is taking. Like she's making she's a hustler, she's a hustler in every regard, because I'm getting some vibes. Like I keep looking at this high priestess and the Four of Wands, that I'll just hear like preacher's wife, or this couple has been presenting themselves in some regard to be like religious figureheads or influencers. So it's not just lifestyle for the sake of That's why it's definitely going down, because it's not just lifestyle for the sake of luxury. It's like religious base or spiritual base, but it's one point of it that's a facade to the public, and then the true nature of it is something far more diabolical. Of course, materialistic at best, but from me, like, I get the sense when you can prop yourself as a spiritual leader, you know what I mean? Like Church of God, House of Prayer type of vibes. Like and then take advantage of those so-called parishioners or just people that follow you or believe in you is diabolical. It's beyond just materialistic, because you have, like I said, what you do for Christ will last. So if you're presenting yourself to do something in the spirit of Christ, or even in the spirit of helping others find their spiritual way to their highest frequency, to put it practically so, and yet you're doing the very opposite, which is what is giving me here. Because why are the police watching? Why would the authorities care about what's going on here and integrity, and why would there need to be any side deal? It's just all something rotten going on here under the surface. So anyway, this is her making hella moves for her escape route, right? But what I'm seeing is that this Eight of Wands is like spiritual force. It supersedes the 8 over the 6, supersedes her plan, which is the two of Wands itself. The difference between the 8 and the 6. It supersedes her greatest effort, because it's only justified that she meet the same judgment that those that she was in agreement or contract with may meet. Maybe even worse, quite honestly, when we look at the 4 going to the 8. So the ways in which she thinks that she's getting away, she actually, and she feels successful at it at this time. Like whatever she's putting into place, whatever backhanded deals. Oh, The Deal. That's the name of the group, The Deal. It's spelled Deele. Oh my God, Spirit, you got to stop. The Deal. So they had a deal, an arrangement outside of whatever this House of Horrors is what I'm hearing right now was. She reneged on that, is making her own side deals for her own sake. The police officer is extorting her deal that she thinks that she's making with him, and even the ways that she thinks she's getting over on him on the side by taking all this money literally and running with it. Didn't I say that? This is fast action. Like, I'm gonna take all the money and I'm out, leaving all this conflict, 5 of Wands, in her wake. She's not going very far fast in actuality, because this is spirit on that ass. So this is wild. The Deal. That's so wild. I don't know why it got all romantic though. Hold on, let me think about this for a second. Because the song says, every time I close my eyes, I think of you, no matter what the season is. Maybe that's her finessing. That's how she finessed this situation, by an expression of love, but it wasn't real, because remember also I said I was thinking it was Babyface, consider Babyface innocence, like he has a baby face, I was in L.A. Reid, oh Lord, when I was thinking it was Babyface, and then I go into the song and I see it's actually a whole bunch of other dudes, literally a whole heap of guys in the group. She's been presenting herself as someone that's more so not holistically innocent, but definitely keeping her hands more clean than what they are, when in actuality she could be the ringleader, like she could be the mastermind of behind all this shit, is what I'm gonna call it, because that's what it is. But like, yeah, and I hear shapeshifter. Like she wears many faces and many masks. And this isn't the first time that she's executed this. Like, she's gotten away with this before. successfully by way of just like finessing her way into commitments and contracts with people, exchanging spiritual essence like love. Her cup is empty though. What she's offering is not love. It's something more tainted. It's more it's really a matter of like manipulation. That's what it is. Now the gotcha is what I'm getting now, with especially with this like entity hanging over these cups. I'm seeing something different in this vibration now. And with the twin, the two energy, the number two on the cups is giving me like Gemini energy, which I keep saying that this is Gemini, but I don't think it actually is. But the twins being the symbol of the Gemini sign, I'm getting that they were both two-faced. You know, they both had ulterior motives in this agenda for some, in this commitment or contract, but they recognized their pretty much that the value of them working together for some desirable outcome, being more productive and rewarding financially speaking than them working separately. So she presented herself to have some great value spiritually, again with this cup energy, like she had some gifts or some talents or some spiritual essence. She's probably a witch for all intents and purposes, holistically. So even if it's just by way of narcissism, that's witchcraft in itself. Like somebody that manipulates, lies, cheats, steals. That's the practical practice of witchery. But to me, it's like the water reflecting, being a reflective energy, is telling me that they both were up to no good, for real, for real. Like they met each other's match. They were each other's match. Maybe not having exactly the same type of motives or same intended outcome per se, but she saw value in finessing him into this contract, and he saw value in finessing her into this contract. They both saw some potential come up in the other to ultimately, I mean, when you think about it, with the couple, especially even in the most practical sense, when we talk about like these creative couples on YouTube and shit like that, people come together because they recognize that they can be a more impactful force with the two of them than they may have been in their own solo social platforms, on their own solo social platforms. So say, for lack of a better example, because I'm not shedding any shade on these two, but Regine and Armand, I know they were pretty popular. I don't think they're together anymore, but they just even on a lower scale, because they're not even the most prominent, but because of who her dad is, it kind of blew up, for what it was. But ultimately, not that many people were really checking for Regine on her own platform. I don't even think she had a social media, or at least she didn't have a YouTube. I think she got into YouTube on account of the whole couple creativity that she forged, or she got more deeply into it on account of the coupleship that she forged with Armand. Now, he was on YouTube in his own regard and had a little something going, but he was obviously even less checked for on a grand scale anyway than she was, because he didn't have like the celebrity notoriety behind him. But he is talented. I don't even know, but I know he has music and he's an artist in his own right. So they saw an opportunity for them to align and bring their forces together. Her probably wanted to start to create her own celebrity outside of just being Regine, Lil Wayne's daughter, and which has done her well, at least aesthetically so, because now she's got the show with her mom and all that, which I haven't watched, but she's really paving her own way in that celebrity world, for good, bad, or indifferent. And he, got to have an increase in viewership and engagement in what he was doing creatively by way of his music and his singing and things like that. So there is opportunity there when it's authentic and, it's organic and it's beneficial to all parties involved. But I believe, ultimately what it comes down to is people start to feel stuck in that agreement in a sense and start to almost put on for the cameras, first of all, because they don't want to lose what they've gained on account of the union itself. They don't want to look, like failures in the relationship. So, you start almost selling out. I won't say selling your soul, but in some extreme cases, yes. But definitely selling out from what you really want for yourself, organically, by way of love and relationships and commitment and even business. Because who the hell wants to be in business with someone that you can't stand when you wake up and look at them in the morning? Like that's just a double whammy, to be in love and in business with somebody that you don't even like. So it's just like, it's just an endless trap, an endless web that you get caught up in, because you don't want to lose all of the notoriety and the fanfare that you got from the union in the first place. You don't want to lose face, literally, la face. You don't want to lose face and be embarrassed. And then you don't want to lose in general, be the one that's the odd man out in the relationship. When in those commitments, it's like almost a competition as to who is going to dump who first, or who's not going to get dumped, and then it's like an endless tug of war in that regard. So it's a sticky situation with these like social couples and stuff. I'm not taking that. No, I'm not taking that. Let's get a few more. I guess I could have taken that, but it was quite a bit of cards. Let's get a few more out. I hear Jay-Z, nobody wins when the family feuds. I don't know how that actually pertains to the situation, but I heard that. Well, here's family. There's even more cards, but I'm going to take them. There's the family. And there's the feud. Oh, it's perfect. It's just as many. That's what's up. Worth it. So there's the 10 of Pentacles. There's the 4 of Swords. Something's being laid to rest. Maybe the feud over this dynasty, this legacy of sorts, or the fact that the legacy itself has been laid to rest on, under this police investigation, that either the crackdown has already commenced or they already know what's happening. So what's really happening behind the scenes of this facade of family, we are family, is fighting, unrest, dis-ease, perhaps actually dis-ease, like physical dis-ease is what I heard, especially with this 4 of Swords, laying to rest. This is somebody in rest and recovery, rejuvenation perhaps. This shit is imploding from the inside out. That's what's happening here. And I feel like look at who's under the heartbreak. She's the primary culprit of all this fallout, and thinks that she's going to bail out on it all. What's going on under the surface here is exactly what I said. The underhanded deal in the 3 of Pentacles that she's making to see her way out of this chaos. But what's happening is there's some underhanded deals that are going on that she doesn't know about with the Moon card, that are actually trying to figure out the best way to clinch her to all of this, just as much, like I said, as everybody else. That's what's unbeknownst to her. This is wow. I'm going to take a few more because that was pretty simple. So there's a loss of whatever material gain that was happening on account of this internal operation. Anything that was prosperous, productive, materially rewarding in any way, shape, or form, or had the projection to be so. I just heard the funds were either seized or, they were either seized or are going to be either seized or frozen. That's the laying to rest with the four of Wands. And that's why there's fighting. So she got something out on the sidelines. There's something that she has before this all, because she knew it was going to be seized. So she, like I said, she tucked some money away on the sidelines that they may not even know about because maybe they weren't even paying attention, or maybe they know now, I don't know, and that's the reason for the fighting. But I feel like there's something that she slipped away with and put it to the side where it could be undetected by the authorities that ultimately ended up seizing accounts and freezing assets, perhaps even seizing the home itself. And that's why they're out here fighting in the street, literally. There's a whole bunch of, there's hella heartbreak, hella betrayal right here with the Three of Swords on account of the agreements, the deals that were supposed to be made. Remember I said, remember, this is so funny to me. Remember I said, just like the group, it looks like it's just the two of them, but when you get behind the scenes, this is 5 more people. And who's she leaving behind here but 5 people, you know? Maybe they thought they were going to escape together in some secretive way, but maybe that was their agreement, that they were going to leave these people in this house to fend for themselves, the other accomplices, and they were supposed to find their way to safety and security amidst amidst this shakedown, or this sting or whatever it was. But she, like I said, they one and the same. She actually played him and moved and got away, and then is working with the authorities in addition to. So she, like I said, she reneged on their deal, reneged on this. They both reneged on this deal. They acted like everything was fine, everything was all good. Meanwhile, there was a knowing under the surface that it was all about to go crumble to shit, and everything that everybody either had invested or was connected to, because maybe perhaps these are accounts that, because of this shutdown, it affected everybody's money. Everybody, and obviously, right? But even deeper than that, there's like power. These are like power. I'm hearing like chords. That this is like they were literally plugged into this fortune in some way, shape, or form, whether it be by way of accounts that were connected, and there was money that was stipends that were being released, or payments that, like, this is the payroll of this operation. And now, because all the assets are frozen, people are fearing for their own lives and their own livelihood. They're trying to fight each other. It's like the gang turning on each other, pretty much. Ultimately, just because there's no value here anymore, and it's like survival of the fittest at this point. Everybody's heartbreaking in a diabolical sense, literally in a lower vibrational sense with the moon card here. It's not like they feel remorse or anything like that. They're just regretful that the whole shit has been blown up in smoke and that they have nothing to show for it. So there may be a small group of them that are trying to regroup and figure out a way. That's what it is. That's what it is. So the people that have been caught up, maybe literally caught up, maybe actually in jail on account of whatever this shakedown was or is going to be, or whatever the case may be, maybe they are in custody at this point, and they're cooperating on account of implementing her in some deeper way that's going to give the authorities the fuel that they need to implicate her back into the whole squad. Because like I said, you can make a deal for one thing, but they have different information, different evidence, and there's been evidence collected. Oh, you know what? That's also what she did. She, knowing that it was about to go down, scrubbed the scene of things that would greatly implicate her beyond what she had already ultimately either confessed to or volunteered to be an implication in, based on her cooperation. So she did the best that she could to eliminate any incriminating evidence outside of what was known, so that she could be scot-free. But unbeknownst to her, these individuals, and perhaps even outside of the so-called 5, if not more or less or whatever, but there's some individuals maybe that have yet to be implicated, yet to be actually arrested or something like that, that are still free and have certain levels of evidence or receipts as to how she is even more involved than perhaps she was given off. Oh my goodness, this is like a freaking this is like a show. God dang. Hold on, I'm not taking any of them. But look, jail. Yeah, and the Queen of Cups, someone that knows all. And that's also her, like how she manipulates that cup of energy. Here's a message. Let's go fast because my incense is out. This is a message. Is that the finesse? Because me with pages, especially with a fish in a cup, there's something unusual about that message. Let's see. Can I get maybe just about 3 more, Spirit? That was another page. Oh, that was another page, though, a page of wands. I don't know if this is any good news she waiting on. I think that's what she thinks she's waiting on is the word that everybody got taken down. But maybe some people weren't in the house. Some people weren't present. Because she probably figures if everybody's behind bars, you know, but her more or less, then she ultimately has liberty to say, and she thinks that she scrubbed the scene, right? So there's no evidence of how much more she's been implicated. That's what this moon card is. That's the secrets that only she's been holding. All right, I'm gonna take all these. But God sees all, first of all, and so do these authorities. They see more than what they will let on for the purposes of building a case. You got, let's see here. Yeah, and you got temperance. Yeah, Spirit is balancing all of this out. It's no rest for the wicked on this one. You got, what's the lovers under, and that is Gemini energy, right? Yeah, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. What is this? With the heart, is this, maybe this is the, because we got the 3 of Swords and the Moon card, that's like secret heartbreak over this commitment. So maybe what they were aspiring to be, or it's exposure. It's exposure, because this is how they were ultimately presenting themselves as this divine couple brought together by God with these special gifts and abilities and, you know, anointed powers, whether it be to the inside operation and or to those that they were selling this facade to. This is how they presented themselves, as some holy couple, but in actuality they were really just, you know, entitled, rageful thieves that were giving out false information by way of the Page of Cups, like I said, because the Page of Cups is always funny, you know, it's tainted. It doesn't always have to be. It could, you know, like I said, it could be an emotional expression, it could be apologies, it could be love, even on a small scale. It even could just be immature love, like a kid's love or something like that. Let me see something. This was the thing laid to rest, and it comes down to a Page of Cups. Damn, that was a hardcore ass song. I was just listening, and that's the energy here of this Knight of Swords. This is a henchman. That's what I heard. This is their entitlement that's now coming back on them, and the scales are being balanced, because if they haven't, this is, I heard, what I'm hearing is that maybe they haven't actually been arrested yet. The people that have been implicated are the ones that have gone down for what they ultimately were spearheading, what they were the top leaders of. And I say yet because I don't think they're going to escape this. Not with the Hierophant here, and they're running right. Okay. If they haven't been taken down for this yet and even feel remotely that they've gotten away scot-free, what's happening is now, like I said, there's like a new order of aggression on their ass, because it's fallen under here, under this Five of Wands, that those that they ultimately left, maybe they got out, maybe some of them got out and everybody didn't get held the way that they thought in time for them to make their great escape. And those people are now, or this could even be sending out the word from the jail, like people are sending out hits or sending orders out from behind bars, because this almost looks like a basement dungeon type of thing. And it's co-workers also, the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is people that were all working together ultimately. Some type of crime ring or just some underground operation that, like I said, on the surface it was one thing, but below the surface it was something completely dark. So now this Knight of Swords is like this is the rage and the entitlement of those that are trying to this is his ass. This is his ass. She was being the high priestess. Oh my God. She was being the high priestess. He was presenting himself to be the Hierophant, and look who he really is under the surface, but the Page of Cups, a tainted little boy. That's who he really is. And now he's got he's got henchmen on his ass on account of the facade that they both played together. Because just as much as they were finessing the peoples, they were also finessing the crew. They were presenting themselves in some type of high honor or some exalted authority to whomever they had implicated in their corruption as well. They exalted themselves as some high valued entities of sorts. You know, two people that, like I said, and I said two spiritual leaders is what they were presenting themselves to be. But I feel like this is darker than that. It's not just like a pastor and a preacher's wife running a mega church. This is maybe perhaps the front of that, but deep down dark in the surface, they were doing some dark magic, some spell work, you know, manipulating the parishioners of whatever this organization was, having their own sideline, lower vibration operations going on with the church or whatever this connection or, you know, agreement was, like whatever this house of horrors, as I said, was the front of it. And now I'm seeing this kid shit. Like I when I'm hearing this energy, I never like seeing the page energy, because and the Page of Wands tried to peek out earlier, because a lot of times with these lower vibrational covens and secret society type forces do is harness the energy of the innocent. So it could just be, like I said, the innocence of parishioners that didn't necessarily know the truth of who they were, like the truth behind the facade, or it can be as dark as harnessing the energy of children and women, or just vulnerable people in general, for the sake of what? Funding their church. That's what it was. And now that is being exposed, as I said, and the universe is balancing the scales by way of that exposure, people are mad. They're angry. The ones that were working in cahoots and the ones that were victims or vulnerable to the operation itself. It's like everybody's mad. So those that she thinks she's getting away from, first of all, he's willing to probably turn on her ass at this point, because she's reneged on their agreement. But they're both under fire and under judgment, literally on the run, on account of all the people that they've disenfranchised, number one, from the operation failing on their false pretenses and false and empty promises, and for the ways in which those that were manipulated have been finessed on the front end of the same. So this is like spirit really balancing those cups, like alchemizing the energy that's been expelled on all accounts, like pretty much making everything balanced and fair. So everybody that had an equal and intentional hand in this mess, one way or another, it's like there were some that got finessed into it and may not have known what they were connecting to, right? There were some that were willing participants and just as conspiring as the two leaders were themselves. And then there were those that were obviously taken advantage of. And this is the alchemy of all of that energy, that nobody's going to be left out. When this is all coming out in the wash one way or another, every secret is going to be exposed, every underhanded plot, every player, every potential plan for whatever's on the future horizon shut down, everyone that was directly connected, and it seems to me that it's going to implicate people that may have been connected by association and like twice and third times removed is what I'm feeling from this. Like people that really didn't have a direct connection, but because they might have helped out a cousin or a friend or a sister or a brother that was connected into this, now they're implicated. You know, that's what the Ten of Pentacles is representing here, which is why there's so much rage and anger, because some people were not holistically profiting off of this operation, but now somehow are going to profit off of the punishment, off of the judgment, on account of just guilty by association is what I hear. That's wild. That's wild. But like I said, it'll all be in fairness. It's not like the person that didn't know they were helping the operation is going to get hit with the same book as the person that absolutely knew, as it is the person that was, the mastermind of it all in the first place. Like everybody's going to get their balanced share. Two of Cups here, balanced share in the Temperance card and the Two of Cups of their just desserts is what I hear. And here's the Emperor. Now, this might be the shot caller of all of it, and he thought he got away, but surprise, motherfucker. No, you didn't. The Emperor, this might be the one. Because, see, this is like, what it's giving me is this is somebody who is at the top of all of this, that has been going unnoticed. You know, that he might be the one that ultimately, I'm saying implicated, but that's not what I mean. It's like he employed, for lack of a better term, these two in the first place. And he thought that he ultimately had the power and the strength to keep the beast off of his ass, and maybe, what I'm also hearing is that his pride is ultimately going to be his downfall. So for whatever reason, like, notice how he's come out absolutely last from all of this. Everybody else has been exposed, or is on their way to being exposed, on their way to being implicated, prosecuted, perhaps arraigned, locked up, charged, whatever the case may be. Like I said, no one is going to be left out of this circus ring. Now, what I'm getting is that this is the mastermind here. The High Priestess and the Hierophant were the facade, they were the front. And look, that's him. It's an entity. Oh my God, look at that. This is a man that ultimately, this is crazy. This is a man in human form, but that ultimately has been able to go unscathed for so long. And this is not his first time running this type of ring. He's been able to go unscathed and undetected for so long because he operates in such a level of control over his beastly nature. And the presentation of it's like a stark contrast here. He's seasoned in this way of corruption. So he knows how to ultimately temper his rage and his carnal self so that in the forefront, he looks like an angelic woman, that's just ultimately innocent, unassuming, non-threatening, maybe even some religious expression or spiritual essence of a facade in itself, not in a physical sense, because it's a man. Or maybe it's not. I feel like it's a man. If it's a woman, it's a woman hella deep in her masculine energy. But it's a man who ultimately has been operating all of this from behind the scenes in ways that haven't been that nobody knows and hasn't been able to know up until now, because these fools didn't know how to honor their agreements, because they were too captivated by their carnal desires to even honor one another in their commitment. It ultimately, like I said, brought the house down for everything and everyone, including from the top down. Nobody is saved. I'm surprised like the Tower card or something didn't come up in all of this. And maybe that's perhaps because it hasn't happened yet, or because it already has happened. But I feel like this is something coming soon at this point. The Strength card is because he's so powerful. The Emperor with the Strength card, first of all, he's already the most powerful king in the deck, who operates in a high authority or position of control. With the Strength card, he just knows how to wield his power in ways that are like almost completely undetected, or undetectable. He's like the highest form of manipulation on this board, like literally the mastermind that perhaps taught them the ways of the operation, but instead of them working the system by way of what he passed down to them to do, they started to run their own situation. They had their own operation going. Again, like I said, no honor amongst thieves. So they took the wisdom that he gave them, the knowledge more so than wisdom. If they would have taken the wisdom, however low vibrational it may have been, they probably would have stayed undetected. But they got beside themselves and wanted to ultimately trump the master, is what they came together to do. They figured that their two heads would be better than his one. You see, I'm gonna pick this up so you can see the synergy of all of these cards. You see, this is like a lion's head, and this is the lion with the feminine energy here, and the Emperor, who more or less is Aries energy for the most part. But this is the synergy here, that she is giving me something too. Maybe she thought she could, maybe she even did, I don't know. Maybe she's represented here because she kind of finessed his power in a way that he had never been finessed before. Or maybe because, I don't know, I'm gonna get too deep in that and my incense is already burnt out. But there's something interesting about this feminine energy besides it being him showing himself in two different forms, like literally probably being a shapeshifter. That to the public, he looks one way completely different than who he truly is internally and behind the scenes of all of this, horror that's been taking place. Terror is what I hear. These are spiritual terrorists. That's why I keep saying House of Horror. These are spiritual terrorists. That's what they are. This is a spiritual terroristic cell of a secret society that is either being overturned as we speak or is exposed as we speak. And these two, like I said, they had the opportunity perhaps to even take over the operation, in a sense, actually operating in the power, because he doesn't want to be seen. He didn't want to be in the forefront. He liked to be very covert in his power. It wasn't necessarily that. Maybe that's why he's been able to. That's why, because he has done well by overcoming his pride. That's what this is, in a sense. well, up until now, I don't know why it seems like it might be the defeat of him now, but he overcame his pride. Oh, I know why. Because the feminine aspect of this is what is really getting him his goat. The fact that she's ultimately skating away with his operation, with what he taught her, with what he feels entitled to by way of the information and energy that he imparted to her. That's why he feels particularly stuck in his ego and pride, because he feels finessed by a woman. And for a narcissistic alpha male such as the Emperor in a lower vibration, that's like kryptonite. So that probably has incited him to come off of his throne in ways that he hasn't for years, for forever, in regards, because like I said, this is someone that's embodying an entity. So really it's this entity here that's running the show overall, that he's given residence to by way of evil deeds and thoughts and, intentions and motivations. But he's known how to control it, his force, because number one, he's not as easily provoked by ego and pride to be in the forefront as these two are. They all, like I said, this is a couple that wanted to be in the spotlight, wanted to give appearances, wanted to be promoted. That's not his MO. He's perfectly fine pulling the strings behind the scenes, which is why he's been able to be a faceless man, more or less, an invisible man, so to speak, up until now. But feeling that he got trumped by a feminine is what brought him out of his shell, and is ultimately what's going to be his demise in the end as well. Yeah. Like, how dare a woman be smarter than me or beat me at my game? And I don't even think it's about money, because I just don't get, like, with the Emperor, I feel like it's more about the control of this whole situation than it is about material gain. Because if that was the case, he would have fallen victim to his pride and ego, his carnal nature at this point. He's been able to balance that quite well. It's control that really fuels his tank. And to feel like he's lost control after all this time on account of a woman, oh no, he's enraged. He is this lion now that's trying to control himself, and that's exactly what's going to expose him too. So I'm going to put him up here because that's where I feel like he deserves to be. You let these people ultimately play you out of your own game. And now here we are. And it's all, at this point, it's all said and done. Look, the high priestess don't want to go down. Look at her. And at this point, it's all said and done because, as I said, nobody is safe. Now, there's not a deal in heaven or in earth that anyone can make, because there's been some dark entity playing. As I didn't really get into that holistically, I just touched on it a bit. But there's been some dark entity agreements and engagement that's been happening here. And now all of it is being overturned, because now even the entities themselves, because so many deals have been bartered and broken, they're not even vested in this anymore. So all the power that was being harnessed in a diabolical sense is disseminating. So that structure, that bottom is falling out. And now it's ultimately them being, having to relent to now the law of the land, which is not going to be kind. And also the spiritual law, the spiritual court, which is most certainly, although it will be justified, it'll be fair, it's not going to be kind on account of all the energy that was expelled. Consider this Eight of Wands, hella backfiring. That can be said to come back, like I said, in balance, more or less. But the thing is that these energies were expecting to get away with this. So even though it's like almost an equal exchange for, like the punishment fits the crime, more or less, it doesn't really fare that way for people that thought they had it all sewn up, like they had outsmarted every aspect of the game and were going to get away with the bag. Now, not only do you not get away with the bag, but you're going to have to answer for every crime that you committed trying to get to it in the first place. Because only what you do for Christ will last. What you do for the devil is ultimately your demise. So, congratulations. And so shall it be. All right, so I'm done with that. Interesting for a Saturday, but I hope you enjoyed the song in any way and that you'll go and check it out for yourself. And I hope that you continue to barter, make good deals with yourself and your spirit team and your spirit guide and the supreme source and force. Don't lose faith in doing things the upright way, because the reason why people got caught up in this energy, as I said, about even the social media couples, is because it presents itself to have a great value on the front end. Like the contract doesn't really seem all that, all that absorbing or like detrimental on the front end. Like people don't read the fine print of what you're actually giving up of yourselves to have the expenses or the the fruits of, I don't know what you call it, you know what I'm trying to say, deals with the devil ultimately, and not all in the most diabolical sense, but in any way that you're selling yourself or your soul or spirit short. That's ultimately what it comes out to be, that it will never balance out and reward you in the way that you idealized. You'll most likely get what you were looking for. They wanted fame, they wanted fortune, they wanted notoriety, they wanted to be seen, and they're going to be seen. They're going to get everything that they wanted, but not in a way that would have been more high vibrational, not by the way of pursuing their own talents and their own gifts and expressing themselves authentically, not as not by way of the casualties of others, not as a facade, not finessing others into buying into a lie that wasn't real, or presenting themselves to have some qualities or character or gifts or talents that they didn't actually possess. That's the opposite of operating in authenticity, in your Christ consciousness. Very opposite. And so you get what you're looking for, but it doesn't last, and it comes at a very, very high price, and in some ways at a price that you may not even be able to repay. And so here we are today, that you actually have to pay with your life, your existence, your vitality, that either you're going to be captivated in spirit or actually in truth behind some bars that ultimately just make you feel limited and don't allow you to express life in the fullest capacity and quality that you ultimately were entitled to do so in the highest vibration and frequency. It's not worth it. It's not worth the exchange at all. There's no amount of money. What profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? I don't care how long you get away with profiting, how much you gain. In the end, your soul will still be most invaluable and priceless in the matter of the experience of your life force in real time, in spirit and in truth. So that's it. I'm done here. It was very interesting, to say the least, but I'm going to call it a quits right here, right now. So until next time, enjoy your Saturday. And until I see you again, I leave you with peace.